Mother's shocking outburst at Janitor leads to an incredible revelation. He reminds me of Daddy. Claire's heart raced as she overheard her children, Lucy and Jake, tucked away in their room, voices trembling with hurt. I don't want to go to school tomorrow, Lucy whispered. They said I'm too weird, followed by a soft sob. Jake's angry retort made Claire's blood boil. The laughter of their classmates must have pierced through their hearts, just like it had done to hers years ago. This was supposed to be the American dream she envisioned giving her kids a happy life, but instead, they faced the same empty hallways that once haunted her. Fueled by a fiery rush, Claire stormed into the school. The fluorescent lights flickered ominously. She spotted Mr. Thompson leaning on his mop, his weary eyes staring blankly ahead. You remind me of my father! She shrieked, the words erupting from her like molten lava. Gasps echoed around the hallway as teachers and kids paused, stunned. Tension hung thick in the air, like a storm waiting to break. Mr. Thompson's expression remained stoic, but Claire saw a flicker of pain. She could almost see how her father, a tireless worker, had faced similar judgments as a janitor, struggling to provide for his family without the recognition he deserved. You don't even understand. Mr. Thompson began, his voice trembling like autumn leaves. As Claire listened, she learned that he had once been a celebrated mechanic, talented and proud. An accident had shattered his world, much like the day she lost her father. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The revelation washed over Claire like cool rain after a blistering summer. Mr. Thompson's life mirrored her father's in unexpected ways, both men simply living with the weight of failure. It was impossible not to feel compassion pouring from her heart, understanding that they were caught in the same cycle of societal expectations. Around them, whispers erupted in disbelief, parents realizing their quick judgments about Mr. Thompson were offensive and flawed. Just as the conversation grew tense, Claire felt an unexpected jolt. One fateful afternoon, Lucy faced another devastating incident at school, a crisis that sent shockwaves through Maplewood. Her small figure had collapsed during a lunch scuffle, leaving her shaken but unbroken. And in a moment of profound bravery, it was Mr. Thompson who stepped forward. With surprising grace and strength, he stepped in where few had before, earning the respect of the entire community. Claire's heart fluttered, but guilt settled heavily on her shoulders. Had she shown her own biases too quickly, blinded by anger? Could she honestly navigate this newfound understanding while facing her own pain of loss and judgment? As the town came together, awakened by Mr. Thompson's unwritten heroics, the walls dividing them began to crack. Standing there, locked in tension with the man she had misjudged, Claire glanced into Mr. Thompson's knowing gaze. Questions filled her mind. If they could share their burdens, their scars, could they finally heal? Would the town embrace the humanity that lay behind judgment? With these weighty thoughts swirling, the uncertainty hung thick in the air, leaving everyone eager to see how these lives would entwine. The silence in the school hallway felt electric. Claire's chest tightened as she stared at Mr. Thompson, the weight of her earlier words still echoing in her mind. She had acted on impulse, a response to protect her children, but now, confronted with Mr. Thompson's vulnerability, a wave of regret washed over her. The crowd around them shifted uncomfortably, their collective breaths held, sensing the tension. Mr. Thompson, I'm sorry. I didn't mean. I was just. Claire struggled to find the right words. She could hear whispers around her, several parents nodding in tentative regret, just then realizing the gravity of their own assumptions about the janitor who had kept their school clean over the years. Mr. Thompson's gaze softened slightly, the corners of his mouth twitching into a faint smile. It's okay, Claire. This world, it sometimes makes us blind to the reality around us. His words flowed with a sincerity that pierced through Claire's armor, and she felt her walls beginning to crumble. I never knew how much we shared, she admitted. What we each carry, the weight. The honesty in her voice broke something in the air. It wasn't just an apology. It felt like the beginning of a bridge, a connection forged through shared loss. Lucy's little voice broke through the tension. Mom? She called from the sidelines, her big eyes filled with concern. The sight of her daughter, vulnerable with the same fight against judgment that Claire once knew, struck her heart deeply. Claire waved her over, pulling Lucy tightly against her side, allowing the moment to solidify around them. Lucy, this is Mr. Thompson. He is not just a janitor. He is a hero, Claire began, her words reinforcing the fragile relationship that was starting to form. He stood up for you when you needed it. Lucy blinked, processing the shift from before, from feeling isolated to realizing there was someone who cared. Really? She looked up at Mr. Thompson, her gaze shifting from shyness to recognition. It was like watching a flower bloom after a long winter. Yes, really, Mr. Thompson replied, kneeling down to her eye level. I wasn't he the one who needed to step in, Lucy? You're braver than you think. The crowd seemed to take a collective breath, sensing a bond forming. Claire felt a swell of pride not just for her children but for the awakening happening amongst the adults. Judgments were wearing thin, and understanding was beginning to flourish. From across the hall, one of the teachers, Mrs. Delaney, stepped forward, her voice strong and clear. This is a time for unity. Let us make sure our kids know they are seen and valued, no matter their differences. Nods of agreement rippled through the crowd. It was a small change, but Claire felt the momentum building. Perhaps this was the start of breaking down walls and rebuilding relationships within the community. But even as hope sparked in her heart, uncertainty lingered. Could they sustain this moment? Could the town hold on to this newfound connection when the world outside resumed its business? Claire knew change required courage. Just then, a familiar sound broke the tension. Laughter from the playground, children playing carefree. Claire glanced outside, her heart aching and hopeful at the same time. Can we carry this outside? She asked, her voice almost a whisper. As she watched Mr. Thompson nod in agreement, a sudden realization hit her. Before they could heal, she needed to tell him about the night of Lucy's collapse. What if his actions that day linked to something even more profound? Mr. Thompson, she began, the weight of her revelation pressing against her chest. There is something you need to know about Lucy's incident, something that might change everything. With bated breath, Claire felt the ground shift beneath her feet. What lay ahead could unravel the very fabric of their fragile connection, or it might just weave them into a stronger tapestry of understanding. Claire's breath caught in her throat as she searched Mr. Thompson's eyes for any sign of what he might think. The murmurs around them died down to a quiet buzz, as if everyone sensed that the next words spoken would carry a weight that could either lighten their hearts or crush their newfound harmony. Lucy's collapse. She swallowed hard, the memories of that night flooding back like a painful current. It was during the heat wave. She had a severe asthma attack. And I didn't get to her in time. Tears prickled her eyes as she recalled the terror of watching her daughter struggle for breath, the helplessness amplifying every moment until Mr. Thompson had raced to her side, his brow furrowed, and she could see a flicker of recognition. I remember that night, he whispered, leaning in as if the weight of her words needed to be shared in hushed tones. I saw you running. I saw the panic on your face. Claire nodded, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. You saved her. You carried her to the nurse when I couldn't. Mr. Thompson's expression deepened. I didn't do it for glory or recognition. I only wanted to help. I know, she replied, heart pounding. But there is more. When I finally got home that evening, I found you in the news. So many people had talked about how you were a hero. It felt like I was losing control of everything. My daughter, my perspective. The honesty spilled from her lips like a stream that had long been dammed. I wanted to protect her more than anything, and in trying to, I made the worst assumptions. A silence enveloped them, thick with unspoken emotions as the crowd processed what was unfolding. She could sense them shifting, their eyes darting between Claire and Mr. Thompson, a mixture of incredulity, realization, and sympathy.mr. Thompson offered a small, understanding smile that seemed to reach deep into Claire's soul. We all have moments we regret. It's how we respond that truly matters. Claire could feel weight lift from her chest, as if a sliver of hope had pierced through the darkness. I've been so afraid that I couldn't show Lucy how to overcome fears, but maybe this, she gestured to the gathering, this connection we're building can help. Little Lucy tugged at her mother's sleeve. Mom, can I talk to Mr. Thompson? I want to say thank you. Claire looked down at her daughter, pride swelling in her heart. Of course, sweetheart. Lucy stepped forward hesitantly, her small voice breaking through the air. Thank you for being there for me that night. It was scary, but I felt safe with you. Mr. Thompson knelt down, his eyes filling with warmth. You're the brave one, Lucy. You fought through it, and that takes more courage than you know. As Claire watched the exchange, she felt the barriers between them dissolving. This moment was transforming them, teaching them about compassion and resilience. Yet, a deeper undercurrent of worry tugged at her mind. The shadows cast by misunderstandings might not be gone for good. Could they really change the perception of those around them? Just then, the bell rang, signaling a return to class. The children began to disperse, unaware of the profound shift that had just taken place among the adults. Claire felt the fissures of hope forming, but also the challenge that lay ahead. Healing wasn't just about the immediate connection they rekindled. It would require ongoing strength and love from everyone involved. Mr. Thompson, what if? Claire hesitated, but her curiosity pushed her on. What if we could create a program together? One that teaches our children about kindness, about seeing past appearances? The question hung in the air, weaving the potential for something greater. As Mr. Thompson considered it, Claire felt herself teetering on the edge of something transformative, an opportunity to bridge not just her world, but the entire community's perspective. But would they be bold enough to step forward together, after all they had faced? The tension crackled again, leaving Claire wondering what kind of future awaited them all. She could sense the echoes of their past still haunting them, but perhaps, with this new foundation, they could carve out a brighter path. Let us do this, Mr. Thompson finally said, offering a tentative grin that ignited a spark of excitement in Claire. As they moved toward the next chapter of their journey, one thought lingered in Claire's mind, both thrilling and terrifying. What if they could truly change everything? The classroom buzzed with chatter as the children filed in, all eager to share their stories from recess. Claire felt a mix of hope and apprehension swirling within her. She watched Lucy as she skipped toward her friends, her laughter like a balm to Claire's anxiety. It was a taste of normalcy, the fleeting joy of childhood that Claire had feared would never return after Lucy's harrowing experience. Hey, Claire! A voice pulled her from her thoughts. It was Jenna, a fellow parent who had been part of the school's parent-teacher association for years. What was that all about between you and Mr. Thompson? Jenna's eyes shone with curiosity, but also a hint of skepticism. Claire took a deep breath, grounding herself in what she wanted to communicate. Lucy got into a bit of trouble last year and Mr. Thompson helped save her life during an asthma attack, she explained, feeling the weight of the truth settle heavily on her chest. Jenna's expression softened slightly. Wow! I had no idea. That's amazing he was there for her, she said. You must be grateful. We are, Claire replied. But we also need to work on connecting our community. A lot of people still have misconceptions. I hope to change that. Just then, a loud voice rang out from the hall. It was Mrs. Montgomery, the principal, trying to calm the gathering crowd. Parents, please, she said, her voice steady. We'll address the traffic situation in just a moment. The tension in the room thickened. Claire glanced over at Mr. Thompson, who was speaking with a few other parents. She could see him gesturing animatedly. Whatever plan they were hoping to support through a partnership felt fragile, yet transformative. As the chaos settled, Claire felt a wave of determination wash over her. She needed to take action. If they were going to make a difference in their community, they had to start somewhere. Mr. Thompson, Claire called out, making her way across the room. Can we meet later today to discuss our idea further? He turned and nodded, the earnestness in his eyes igniting a fire of ambition within her. Absolutely. Let us figure out how we can make this program impactful. Together. Just then, a loud crash echoed from the other side of the playground. Claire jolted, her heart racing. She could see Lucy standing nearby, her face flushed and lip trembling. No! Mom! Lucy shouted, pointing toward the janitor who stood in a cloud of dust, clearly caught off guard. Claire's heart sank. The janitor had dropped a stack of chairs, and several children were gathering around, giggling at the scene. Lucy! It's okay! Claire rushed over, her instinct to shield her daughter kicking in. But as she reached her, Lucy pushed past her, her small frame marching bravely toward the janitor. Don't worry! I think you're really cool! Lucy exclaimed, her voice unwavering despite the onlookers. You remind me of my daddy. Claire's breath hitched. The comment pierced through the noise, and the room fell silent, all eyes glued to Lucy's genuine expression of understanding. She had no idea how perfectly timed her words were. The janitor looked taken aback, his eyes wide and glistening. Thank you, little one. That means a lot to me, he replied softly, crouching down to meet her gaze. Tears brimmed in Claire's eyes as she took in the scene. How could this moment evolve into a lesson for everyone? Children were so quick to see beyond appearances, so naturally accepting what happened to that as they grew. Claire started, but her daughter turned back, her innocent face shining with affirmation. Mom, see? He's kind. And I want everyone to know he helps too. Claire paused, heart swelling with pride. This was the chance to teach not just Lucy but everyone about empathy, understanding, and compassion. Exactly, Claire responded, feeling a newfound urgency. It's the perfect starting point for our program. Yet doubt edged its way back into her mind. Would this lead to meaningful change, or would it simply be another idea that fizzled out in the face of resistance? As she looked around, Claire saw hope sparking in the eyes of the other parents. Perhaps this wasn't just a moment, it could be the catalyst for their community's transformation. With resolve building within her, Claire knew they had to seize this moment and turn it into something real. Let us meet with everyone, share Lucy's courage, and start inspiring change. But would the other parents rally behind them or retreat into comfortable silence? In a world still tangled in misunderstanding, Claire wondered if they could harness Lucy's innocence to soften the hearts of others as the day unfolded. Claire understood that the journey ahead would be fraught with challenges. But one thought guided her relentless spirit: what if this was just the beginning of something extraordinary? Claire stood still for a moment, her heart swelling with emotion as she watched Lucy interact with the janitor. The warmth of their connection rippled through the audience of parents, igniting a spark of hope in what had moments before seemed a tense atmosphere. She felt that something meaningful was about to unfold. Mom! Look! Lucy tugged at Claire's hand, pulling her out of her reverie. I told him he's cool, just like you and Mr. Thompson. The janitor chuckled softly, still visibly touched by Lucy's words. Claire stepped closer, feeling a mix of pride and urgency surge within her. How could one child's innocent comment open doors to understanding? Can we do something for him? Lucy asked, her enthusiasm contagious. Maybe a party or signs that say thanks? The thought sent a jolt through Claire. What if Lucy's idea could be the very foundation of their much-needed program? It was simple but powerful, a way to recognize the unseen contributions in their community, to share stories of kindness and help foster connections. That's brilliant, Lucy, Claire said, kneeling to meet her daughter's shining eyes. What if we hold a gathering? A celebration for all the helpers. A nearby parent, Marcus, overheard Claire and approached with a thoughtful expression. That sounds amazing. We could invite everyone in the school, parents, kids, even the community. We could create a Community Helpers Day. Yes. Lucy beamed, jumping slightly. The idea took hold like wildflowers sprouting through cracks in pavement, and Claire felt it, too, the flutter of possibility. Let us get the word out. Another parent chimed in. We can share stories of everyone's impact, from the janitor to the crossing guard. Let people see how they matter. As more parents gathered, the buzz of excitement filled the air. They scribbled notes and exchanged phone numbers, each one eager to contribute. Claire couldn't help but marvel at how quickly their collective energy shifted from uncertainty to enthusiasm. But amidst the momentum, a small voice piped up in the back. What if some people don't want to celebrate? What if they think it's just silly? Claire met the questioning eyes of a shy boy clutching his mother's hand. It's understandable to feel that way, she acknowledged, her heart softening. Not everyone will see it like we do, but this is our chance to show them how much kindness matters. How celebrating our helpers shines a light on all of us. Nods of agreement circled the group, a wave of solidarity washing over the parents. The idea had transformed from a simple celebration into a gesture of hope, a chance to bridge gaps and foster understanding. However, an unsettling thought lingered in Claire's mind. What if their efforts fell flat? What if not enough people engaged? Was she putting too much pressure on Lucy's innocent idea? As the excitement continued to build around her, she caught sight of Mr. Thompson, who had stepped closer. He smiled encouragingly. Claire, you're onto something here. Change starts with initiatives like this. Don't doubt the impact of hope. Taking a deep breath, she felt the weight of responsibility shift. They would make this happen. The energy surged through her veins, sparking resilience. Yet as the parents murmured amongst themselves, Claire noticed the janitor still lingering in the background, his expression a mix of confusion and gratitude. Can we ask him to share his story? Another parent suggested. It could inspire others. Claire turned to the janitor, who seemed caught off guard but intrigued. Would you be willing to join us and share your experiences? Your insight could really touch hearts, she asked gently. Nervously, he glanced at the crowd before his gaze settled on Lucy, who smiled encouragingly. I guess I could try, he said, his voice unsteady yet hopeful. Claire's heart raced in anticipation. Would this celebration really bring forth the revelations they all so desperately yearned for? Could they truly open their community's eyes to the everyday heroes hidden in plain sight? But what if it all spiraled into chaos instead of connection? As she took a step forward, determined to rally her community, Claire realized this was just the beginning of an incredible journey. The challenge was only starting to unfold, and amidst the uncertainty lay the promise of transformation. What awaited them was unpredictable, but perhaps, just perhaps, this would lead to something bigger than they ever imagined. Claire watched the crowd begin to gather, parents buzzing with excitement and curiosity. She felt a steady pulse of energy surging through her, an unyielding determination to see this gathering take shape. But a voice in the back of her mind was casting a shadow of doubt. What if it all crumbled under the weight of expectations? Mom! Lucy nudged her arm, snapping her from her thoughts. Can I help make the signs? We can start right now. The earnestness in her daughter's eyes ignited a spark of joy within Claire. Absolutely. Let us get the supplies and start brainstorming. Lucy's enthusiasm was infectious, and Claire found herself swept up in it. They quickly moved towards a table where markers and poster boards had been set up. As Claire gathered materials, she could see other parents doing the same, creating a whirlwind of creativity around her. But just as she started to feel buoyed by the collective excitement, the janitor shuffled closer, his hands tucked deep into his pockets. Claire's heart squeezed at the sight. He seemed small beneath the weight of the moment, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. Excuse me, he spoke softly, his voice barely rising above the noise. I just wanted to say thank you for even considering me to be a part of this. Claire tilted her head, her chest tightening. You deserve to be celebrated just as much as anyone else. You make a difference every day, even if people don't always see it. For a moment, he stood there, a small but grateful smile spreading across his face. Okay, let us begin. Marcus called out, gathering people's attention. We need ideas for speeches or stories we could share. Who wants to go first? Fingers shot up around the table, parents eager to participate. Each name spoken, each story shared, began to weave a tapestry of connection. Claire noticed Mr. Thompson nodding along, his eyes filled with admiration for the community coming together. But then, a tiny voice cut through the chatter. It was Lucy, her innocent honesty ringing out. Can he go first? She pointed at the janitor, her gaze unwavering. I want to hear his story. The crowd fell silent, and all eyes pointed towards the janitor. He shifted uncomfortably but met Lucy's bright gaze. Encouraged by the moment, he stepped forward. I never really thought I had much of a story, he confessed, his voice wavering. I just do what I can to keep the school nice and clean. But I guess I've learned a lot about the kids here. They're amazing. Like you, he gestured toward Lucy, who beamed back at him, and then, Claire felt it an undeniable shift. This wasn't just about a celebration anymore. It was about opening a dialogue. Boys and girls, parents and teachers, a janitor, all sharing a vulnerable heartbeat under one roof. The isolation that had cloaked them all slowly began to dissolve. Please continue, Claire encouraged, her voice steadying. As the janitor spoke, stories flowed like a river, moments of laughter, of kindness, of hardship, each truth weaving into the gathering of faces. Claire felt the warmth enveloping the space, as if they were all gathered around a fire, sharing the stories of their lives. Just when it felt like a comforting buzz had taken hold, Lucy shouted, "He reminds me of Daddy." Time seemed to freeze. Claire's heart sank and then surged. She hadn't expected this to come up, especially now. The weight of her past hung in the air, and she could see the subtle tension ripple through the crowd. Conversation stuttered and stopped. "Sweetheart," Claire started, her voice trembling slightly. But Lucy stood firm, unfazed. "He's nice. And he makes people happy." The janitor looked down, touched by her words yet flustered. Claire wanted to pull back, but Lucy's innocent insistence lit a fire inside her, an invitation to remember the power of connection, of love lost and found. As the moment hovered delicately, an unexpected clarity washed over Claire. In the fragility of her emotions lay an opportunity. Could Lucy's words unravel a deeper understanding? Could her innocent truth spark a revelation not just for them, but for everyone listening? The atmosphere shifted again, the tension replaced with possibility. What would it mean for all of them to embrace that connection, despite their fears? How could this moment evolve into something larger than they had ever dreamed? As Claire took a deep breath, she knew one thing: this was not the end of their journey, but perhaps an unexpected beginning. Claire felt the murmurs ripple through the crowd, and she glanced anxiously at Lucy, who was blissfully unaware of the stir her words had created. The janitor shifted under the gaze of the gathering, the flush of embarrassment coloring his cheeks. Claire knew this was a pivotal moment, not just for her daughter but for everyone present. "Lucy, why don't you tell us what you like about him?" Claire suggested gently, desperate to redirect the rising tide of emotions swirling around them. Lucy's eyes sparkled, unfazed by the sudden weight of the room. "He always smiles," she exclaimed, animatedly gesturing with her hands. "And he knows everyone's names. He said he sees us each day and that he likes to keep our school pretty. That's important, Mom." The raw honesty in her words cracked the silence, and Claire felt her chest tighten, a mix of pride and sadness flooding her heart. The janitor met her gaze, his eyes shining with gratitude. There was a warmth in that shared moment that enveloped them like a hug. "Thank you, Lucy," he said, his voice stronger now. "I try to remember names because it makes things feel friendlier. Schools should feel like a home." A ripple of understanding grew in the crowd, and Claire felt the burden of her past start to lift. Maybe this wasn't just about her, or even just about the janitor. It was about the bonds they could forge as a community. "Oh, it really does," someone called out from the back, and soon voices began to echo in agreement. Claire looked around, taking in the faces of parents, teachers, and kids who shared her hopes. This moment was evolving into something magical. It was as if Lucy's innocent observation had opened a door to healing that had long been closed. Each voice added another layer to the tapestry they were creating, woven together with threads of shared humanity. "What's your name?" Lucy asked the janitor, her head cocked slightly to the side, curiosity written all over her face. Mr. Walker, he replied, a smile breaking through his earlier timidness. That's a good name. Like a superhero. Lucy exclaimed, her face alight with delight. The laughter that erupted from the crowd became infectious, the tension melting away as they collectively leaned into the warmth of human connection. Maybe we can start a new tradition, Marcus suggested, his voice rising above the others. Celebrating the people who help us every day. Eyes lit up across the room, ideas buzzing like fireflies in the dusk. Claire felt the swell of energy carry her heart, lifting it beneath the weight of doubt she had carried. Meanwhile, a flicker of hope ignited in her chest, glimmering in tune with the outpouring of excitement. As stories flowed and new plans began to unfold, Claire found herself standing a little straighter. Maybe opening up the conversation was exactly what they all needed. It wasn't always easy to say how they felt, but together, they'd taken the first step toward healing. But as the energy rose, Claire noticed the janitor peering quietly into the crowd, looking for moments of connection as if searching for something deeper. She wondered if he was feeling the same spark of belonging she was savoring. Mr. Walker, Claire called out, suddenly inspired. Would you be willing to share more about your journey with us? There's no reason we can't keep this celebration growing. A hush fell. He blinked, mouth slightly agape, caught between doubt and the chance to connect further. The moment stretched, and Claire's heart raced as she sensed the pull of vulnerability in the air. This could go either way. Would he step into the light or shy away? As she held her breath, ready for whatever came next, she couldn't shake the feeling that something life-changing was on the verge of emerging. After a deep breath, he finally stepped forward again. Okay, let us see. There's something I've never shared before, and in that moment, Claire knew they were about to embark on a revelation that would change everything. What would Mr. Walker reveal that might shake the very foundations of their community? Mr. Walker paused, the air thickening around him. The room held its breath, anticipation buzzing like the static before a storm. Claire felt her heart hammering, a mix of hope and anxiety flooding her nerves. What truth was about to unfurl? I've kept this close, he began, his voice barely above a whisper. But I've experienced some hard times too. I lost my family a few years back. A collective gasp rippled through the audience, Claire's heart aching for him. She could see it in the way his hands trembled, how he clenched and unclenched them as if wrestling with the memories. We lived just a block from here, he continued, the weight of his story spilling into the open space. I had a wife and 2 little girls. They were my world. But one day, an accident took them from me just like that. Tears pricked at Claire's eyes. The pain in his words was raw and real, an echo of her own past struggles. She watched him, captivated yet heartbroken. The crowd swung from joy to empathy, the mood shifting like a tide. I didn't know how to keep going, Mr. Walker confessed, brushing away a tear that managed to escape. I found myself wandering the halls here, just trying to find a reason to smile. Each child, each laugh, it reminded me of my daughters. Their spirit still lives on in this school and in you all. Lucy's hand shot up, her innocent voice breaking the heavy silence. But you still help everyone, Mr. Walker. You make us happy. Like a superhero. His laughter bubbled up, lightening the somberness that hung in the air. Thank you, Lucy. That's exactly what I hope to do. I want to give back, even if it's just a smile. Claire felt her own grief trembling in the corners of her heart. Mr. Walker, she started, but the words tangled in her throat. The honesty of his story sparked something within her. You remind me of my husband. He was a kind man too. Always helping others, always giving. Her voice broke, revealing the vulnerability she had tried so hard to shield. The realization struck her. The connections they were forging transcended their differences. They were all longing for the same things: love, belonging, community. As Claire wiped away a tear, murmurs of understanding echoed through the crowd. Maybe we've all lost someone. Maybe we're all just looking for ways to keep their spirit alive, she offered, surprising herself with her courage. Exactly, Mr. Walker said, nodding vigorously. We can share our stories. Honor their memories. Everyone here has something to give, and together, We can create a safe place. The room filled with murmurs of agreement, sparks of ideas igniting. Parents shared glances, children nodded, and a sense of camaraderie emerged. Claire felt her heart swell with connection. But just as she began to relax, the door swung open with a loud creak, and a group of latecomers entered. Their arrival was met with sharp glances, and Claire's stomach tightened again. Who would they be? Would this moment of unity shatter? As she turned to see who had walked in, a chill ran down her spine. She froze at the sight. Standing there was someone she had never expected to see again, her past looming large as if waiting to tip her world once more. What would happen next? Would the ghosts from her past slip through the door, or could they stand together united as a community, embracing the healing they so desperately needed? Claire's heart raced as she recognized the figure standing at the door. It was Sarah, a childhood friend turned rival, now reshaped by time and distance. Her long hair fell around her shoulders, framing a face marked by a mix of uncertainty and determination. Behind Sarah, a tall man hovered, his expression anxious as if he were ready to bolt at any moment. "Claire?" Sarah's voice broke through the murmur of the crowd, raw and tentative. Claire's breath caught in her throat. The room felt like a floodgate, bursting with unresolved emotions. What could Sarah possibly want? Mr. Walker's gaze flicked nervously to the newcomer, sensing the tension. Claire couldn't help but notice how the warmth of the moment shifted. The bond they'd begun to forge felt fragile, teetering on the edge of chaos. "I didn't know you were back in town," Claire managed to say, the words tasting bitter. She could sense the eyes of the audience shifting back and forth between them, curiosity biting at the air. "I know this isn't the best time, but I had to come," Sarah replied, stepping further into the room. "I heard you were here, sharing stories. Are you here to share or to stir up old memories?" Claire shot back, the hurt of their past spilling out like an open wound. There was so much history between them, years of rivalry and jealousy lingering despite the passing time. Claire could see Mr. Walker's unease growing. He stepped closer, attempting to restore the moment's tenderness. "Let us take a deep breath. We're all here to support one another." Sarah shifted uncomfortably, then spoke again, this time her voice steady with resolve. "I'm here to heal, just like you. I came to find out how you really are." There's so much we never said behind her, the latecomer's expression darkened. Claire noticed then that he looked a lot like her late husband. The resemblance sent a shock through her, a ripple of grief and nostalgia. "Why don't you share with us?" Mr. Walker coaxed, keeping his tone warm amid the rising tension. Feeling exposed, Claire glanced at Sarah, trying to gauge her intentions. "What do you want from me?" "I want to apologize. I've thought about it for years," Sarah said, vulnerability shining through her words. "We let our competition get in the way of our friendship." Her honesty pierced through the air. Claire hesitated, battling the waves of resentment and pain that had built up over time. "Maybe that competition was a mask," Claire admitted quietly, feeling a wave of unexpected empathy. "We were young and scared." From the back, Lucy's voice piped up, innocent and clear. "You can be friends again. Just like superheroes." The crowd chuckled softly, tension easing as Lucy's words landed like a bomb. Mr. Walker smiled, lighting up the room again with his warmth. Claire looked at Sarah, trying to read her expression. "You've changed, Sarah. Perhaps we both have." Then, from the corner of her eye, she caught the new man's gaze. Something in his eyes resonated deeply, like fragments of familiar warmth. But just as the moment hung in the balance, the door creaked again. Another figure stepped into the light, the last person Claire expected to see. A breath caught in her throat. Her past had not only rushed in through one door, but through two. It was time to face the echoes of her past and the mysteries they brought with them. What revelations awaited them all as the truth unraveled? The atmosphere in the crowded room was thick with tension and anticipation. The presence of these familiar figures, Sarah and the tall man, sent ripples through the gathering, stirring old wounds and unresolved feelings. Claire's heartbeat raced, pounding in her ears like a distant drum calling her to confront the ghosts of her past. "Lucy," Claire whispered, trying to steady herself. Why don't you stand next to Mr. Walker? She needed her daughter close as she faced the memories that threatened to overwhelm her. Lucy nodded, sensing the shift in her mother's emotion, and scampered to Mr. Walker's side, her innocent vibrancy illuminating the space. Sarah, Claire began, her voice steady but laced with an undeniable fragility. What brings you back to Maplewood? Sarah's expression softened, revealing the vulnerability beneath her earlier apprehension. I came to find you, to make sense of everything. I've been away a long time, and I regret how things ended between us. Claire felt a lump form in her throat. The years apart hadn't erased the hurt, but part of her longed for understanding. We were so young, Sarah. It's hard to forget how our rivalry tore us apart. I know, Sarah replied, stepping forward slightly, her eyes pleading for acceptance. But I realized how much I missed you. Our friendship was special. I want to mend it if you'll let me. From behind them, the tall man shifted nervously, drawing Claire's attention. Who is he? She asked, gesturing as now he was clearly in her line of view. This is Eric, Sarah introduced, the warmth in her voice evident. He has been a huge support for me. He lost someone too. The air shifted again, and Claire absorbed Sarah's words. This was a moment for compassion, not just for herself but for Sarah and Eric as well. Lucy! Claire called, glancing down at her daughter, who bounced excitedly at Mr. Walker's side. Will you share what you thought about this gathering, about all the stories you've heard? Her heart fluttered at the thought that her daughter could weave their collective pain into something beautiful. Yes, Mom, Lucy said, her eyes sparkling. I think everyone is a superhero in their own way. Just like Mr. Walker. Mr. Walker smiled, his heart swelling with pride as he leaned down to Lucy's level. You know, Lucy, we all have battles we fight, and helping each other makes us stronger. Claire felt tears fill her eyes. This was their moment, a moment of healing that extended beyond her own grief. It's true, she said. We all have stories to tell, and when we share them, we create a stronger bond. The room buzzed with a newfound energy, the magic of connection twinkling in the air. Sarah drew in a breath, stepping toward Claire. Maybe starting again means embracing our pain together, she said softly. Claire swallowed hard, feeling the knot in her throat begin to dissolve. You're right. I want to make things better. I want to honor what we've all lost. As their connection deepened, the crowd seemed to lean in, sensing the significant shift taking place. What once felt like isolation now blossomed into a tapestry of community. Mr. Walker rose, a warm glow of understanding radiating from him. If we can celebrate kindness and our shared struggles, perhaps we can create a brighter future for our children. We owe it to them. Claire looked around, seeing the faces of fellow parents and teachers nodding in agreement. At that moment, an undeniable realization washed over her. This wasn't just a gathering, it was the birth of a movement. A chance to redefine their community by nurturing empathy, understanding, and connection, transforming shadows of judgment into light. Let us create something beautiful together, Claire said, her voice gaining strength. We can honor our heroes both past and present. Let us unite in love and open the doors to forgiveness. Lucy cheered, her voice bright against the tender silence. And in that moment, the crowd erupted with applause, hearts synchronized in a collective resolve for change. Thank you, everyone. Mr. Walker beamed, stepping forward. Let us turn this energy into action. Together, we will create a day that celebrates our collective stories, a day that reinforces how we can support each other. As the room spiraled into discussion about plans for their Community Helpers Day, Claire felt a warmth envelop her, like a hug shared among friends. She looked at Mr. Walker, Sarah, and then at little Lucy, whose innocent belief in kindness had sparked something profound. She knew they were all on the brink of something significant. This was their chance to reshape the narrative, to transition from sorrow to strength. And as laughter filled the air, Claire felt her heart thumping with gratitude. Let us do this, Claire declared, resolving in that moment that she would carry this mission forward for her family, for her friends, for their community, a new chapter waiting just beyond the horizon. Now, more than ever, She understood that healing wasn't just about confronting the past, it was about weaving it into the present to build a brighter future. As a final thread of connection wrapped around them, Claire saw hope glimmering in every face, the promise of transformation ahead. Now, if you have been inspired by this incredible journey, this is your moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss out on our next exclusive stories that will touch your heart and open your mind. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support the creation of amazing content. Every single like makes a difference. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. We want to hear how this story impacted you. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Real fans know the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Let us create a community of kindness and understanding together.